If you want to learn today how to build CI CD pipeline using AWS CodeDeploy and GitHub Actions, you are in the right place. Today I'm going to show you step by step how to configure and build CI CD pipeline that every time you're going to push a new commit to your branch in GitHub repository, it will trigger GitHub action that will run AWS CodeDeploy command that eventually will auto-deploy your new commit to your EC2 instance that run your app. Can be Node.js app or Python apps or Java apps. So the steps for today are: step number 1, we're gonna launch a new EC2 Linux instance. On step number 2, I'm gonna deploy my local Node.js app manually. On step number 3, I'm gonna install AWS CodeDeploy agent on the new EC2 that we just launched. Step number 4, we're gonna create 2 new roles with CodeDeploy permission. Step number 5, we're gonna set up AWS CodeDeploy on AWS dashboard. And step number 6, the last one, we're gonna set up GitHub action for CI CD pipeline, plus a live demo that I'm gonna show you how it works. If you already watched my recent YouTube about how to build CI CD pipeline on AWS, you can skip step 1 to 5 and just go ahead to step number 6, because it's pretty much the same, only the change is that here we're gonna run it with GitHub action. So stay tuned, we are about to start, and feel free to follow for more amazing tutorials about AWS. Welcome back, guys. So as you can see right now on the screen, I have my Node express.js application in my local machine. This is my AWS console, and this is the Node. It's a very simple application. Everything is located in my GitHub account under Node.js AWS CodeDeploy code pipeline repository. So you guys can download it and play with it and use it by yourself. There is also all the structure of this tutorial inside the README file. Okay, and today basically I'm gonna show you how you can build your own code deploy pipeline with AWS to deploy all the push that you do to your GitHub repository. So this is the local my local computer with a local express.js Node.js application. As you can see, if I'm cancel it, so it's not working, and when I'm activating, it's working again. And what we want to do, finally we have a version that we are happy, it's gonna make us millions, and we want to deploy it. Okay, we want to deploy it to one of the cloud services. I'm using AWS, one of the best Amazon Web Services, one of the best cloud provider. And as you can see, this is my simple Node.js Express application. It's just doing app get, basically listening to requests on port 3000, and it's sending image with a text, random image with a text. Everything you need to know is located in this repository, and I will instruct you how you can do it by yourself also. Just follow the tutorial. It's very simple, very easy forward. If you have any question, you can leave comment below and I will answer you. So step 1, let's launch our new EC2 Linux instance because we want to upload or deploy our app in the cloud. So as you can see, it's very simple. Just go to your AWS console, press on launch instance, choose Amazon Linux 2 version kernel 5. You can use even different version. Okay, and here you have all the instructions that you need to do. So the first thing that you can see is launching our Amazon Linux server. So this is what I'm gonna do right now. In this section, I'm gonna choose the T2 micro, the free tier one, so you don't need to pay. And I'm gonna leave this setting as it is. Next, we're gonna add storage. I'm gonna use the option of the GP3. It's newer and it's better. And let's add a name tag, so it's gonna be easier for us in the deploy section to identify our server. Perfect, and now let's create a new security group. If you guys don't know, security group is basically where we define what kind of traffic we are allowing or not allowing to our app, to our server. So I'm gonna open it for two port, the SSH. I'm gonna leave it for everyone at the one because it's just example, but you wanna do it only for your IP. And also port 3000 because this is the port that the Node.js app is working, and I'm gonna do it for everyone. Perfect. And next let's click on launch, and we're pretty done. It's very simple. Here we're gonna create a new PAM key. I just doing it everything fresh so you guys will learn everything. I didn't use the default setting that I have. So this is how you can do it step by step if you don't know how to launch your first instance. I also have a video that I specified how to do it step by step. Very easy, slow going. And once we download the PAM key, we launch our instance, and soon enough we're gonna see it in the AWS EC2 console. So let's go there. Perfect. I'm just gonna take the PAM key and I'm gonna move it to my desktop, so it's gonna be easier to reach out to it. Okay. Okay, so while it's initializing, it's completed. We have the first instance, and now we need to do the SSH and install or manual deploy our Node.js app before we do it automatically. So the first thing you want to do, you want to change the permission of the PAM key we just downloaded. Everything, you have a command to do it, so you don't need to search in Google. Just follow this tutorial or Amazon instruction. And next, now we need to basically run the SSH command so we can deploy the Node.js app manually by logging to the server. If you guys don't know, it's a simple command, SSH-i, the key name, the username of the instance that we're going to log in, and eventually after the hat, we're gonna use the IP, or we can use the DNS name also. Type yes. Perfect. We SSH to our server that we just launched, and now we're gonna follow the GitHub instruction, and we're gonna install all the necessary package in order to have a Node.js Express app in the cloud. So it's gonna take like few minutes, very simple. And after that, I'm gonna go over to the next step, how to do it with the code deploy and code pipeline, so everything gonna be automatically. So now we're installing everything we need. Okay, next we want to install Node because we have a Node app working on express.js, so we want to install a Node package. Okay, after running the command, we need to copy and paste all of those variables, so it's gonna be available to us on our console. You can do also, if you want, you just can disconnect and connect again to the console, and it will be available to you, just like when it consists. Sorry. Okay, let's check our version and VM version to see that everything works. So everything installed, we have access to the NVM, and let's check that now the NVM will install the latest, not the latest version, but the latest stable version of Node.js. It's like 16 point something. Okay, let's check the versions. Is everything okay? Perfect. Okay, perfect. We install everything we need. And now basically we're gonna download manually git clone the repository that I had on my local, that it's located in the GitHub. I'm gonna download it to the server and we'll run it manually. Okay. If you guys don't know how to get the link, you just go to the code, or you can copy by the instruction. This is the link. Go enter, and that is, let's now cd to the folder. Okay, so we downloaded the repository folder, we downloaded the Node.js Express app, and now we need to run npm install to install all the Node.js plugins or modules. Perfect. You just remember this step because we need to make it automatically next step. So let's activate our Node apps and let's see that it's work on the server. Let's get the IP. And remember that we need to use port 3000. You can use whatever port that you want, like the one that are not occupied. And it's worked perfect. We did a second step. We deploy Node.js Express app on AWS, less than 9 minutes. So now the next step for us is to install a PM2. PM2 is process management for Node.js application. So it will run in the background or when the server is booted. We want always our app to be to run. We don't want to run it manually because it's not gonna work on production. So for that we have the PM2 package. Let's install it globally. Okay, it will take a few seconds, don't worry, it's very fast. Okay, excellent. And now, before we running with the PM2, what we need to do, we need to set node, npm, and PM2 accessible to root. And why is that? It's because when we're gonna use the auto deploy, the CI CD pipeline that we're gonna build, Amazon is using the root user. Here you can see the command itself that I'm running npm install, but Amazon will run it, or the Amazon agent, the code deployment engine, will use the root user. I tried a few times before without it and it caused me a lot of issues. So after checking everything, this is how it's working the best. So this is what you need to do. So now I'm making all of those commands, I'm making them accessible to the root user in our EC2 Linux machine. As you can see, if I'm going to do sudo pm2, the command is not available. So this will cause error to our deployment process. Once we make it available to the root, now sudo can run the command. So perfect. Next step for us is basically run our Node.js app in the background with pm2 as root, because this is the root user will access after that to our server and will do the deployment automatically. So now the Node.js app working, we're gonna save the setting that we did with pm2, and we also wanna make it to run when the server is boot. So we need to run sudo pm2 startup. Perfect, we're done with step 2, deploy Node.js app manually. It's completed, and now we have an app in Node.js in our AWS EC2 instance, and we finish basically with the first and second step. And now we're going to use the CI CD. We're going to build the pipeline, and the first step for that we need to install the AWS CodeDeploy agent. I have all the command in my instruction in the README file. You just need to copy and paste. It will work for you perfectly, and if not, if you're gonna have question, feel free to leave comment and I will be happy to assist you. So you need to make sure that the agent that you are installing is the same, have the same origin, or not origin, sorry, the region of your EC2 server. I tried with different region, it still work, but just make it consist. And let's install it. By the way, guys, if you have any question, feel free to leave a comment below and I will be happy to assist you. Okay, next, let's say run the install. Okay, let's start our agent. Let's see that it's working, the code deploy agent. And now if I'm gonna go to htop or to the process list, and I will sort it by memory, I will see the code deploy agent install. It's perfect. This is a predefined step that we need to do in order to build the CI CD pipeline automatically. And now the next steps we're gonna continue in the console. We're gonna go to EC2, let's duplicate the tab and let's go to IAM, identify access management, and we need to create 2 new rules with code deploy permission, one for our EC2 instance and one for the AWS code deploy group that we're gonna do in a few minutes. So make sure you check in the EC2, and the rule that you need to choose is AWS CodeDeploy rule for code deploy. Okay, Amazon EC2 rule for AWS CodeDeploy. This is the first rule that we are opening, and later in a few seconds we're gonna attach it to the EC2 Linux server. Okay, great. And now let's create the second role for the AWS CodeDeploy group. Next, here you want to choose AWS. Here you want to choose the AWS CodeDeploy role. This is how it's called. Next, and we need to change one of the setting inside. So once you created the role and you saved it, we need to change one of the setting inside. So let's save it. Okay, so now I'm basically going to the second role we just created, and I need to change something in the trust relationship tab. We need to change the service from EC2 Amazon AWS.com to CodeDeploy Amazon AWS.com. It's very important. Without it, it's not gonna work. Perfect. Okay, now we need to just, as I told you a few seconds ago, to attach the role to the EC2 instance. So the code deploy agent that we have there will work. And let's name my EC2 instance. And now we're gonna set up the AWS code deploy. Okay, so just type code deploy, and basically you're gonna come to the developer tools. You can read about it if you have any, if you wanna further expand your knowledge, and basically press on let's start and create application. But before that, I wanna review with you the code deploy app spec .yml or YAML file that you need to have on your repository, on your root repository, in order for the deploy to work. If you guys wanna read more about it, just press search for the content on the AWS documentation. Basically, this file gives instruction to the code deploy configuration, how it needs to work, and what are the steps that need to be done. So you have the setting themselves at the beginning that you basically telling to the app spec, to the code deploy, what need to be copied from where to where. So our source is the root, the GitHub root, and we need to copy it to inside our instance, home EC2 user, and the name of the project. And there are the hooks. The hooks will run after the code deploy will copy all of the file. I have only 2 hooks, but you guys can have much more. The first hooks is after we install. Basically, after we copy the folder, we want to run npm install to run all the package JSON plugins that we have, the modules that we have. Okay, this is the bash file. I did it very simple. I just did few comments, and then I'm also echoing to a file, so we kind of follow the deploy.log file. And after that application start, I'm just restarting the PM2 service, that it will update. This is how we will make sure that it will run the updated code. We need to restart the PM2. As you can see right here, we just restarting, because if you're gonna update the source code but you're not gonna restart the process management of the Node.js, even though you're gonna have the recent code, it's not gonna show it in the cloud, in the server. So it's very important to run those 2 commands. And once I explain you about it, now we're gonna create the CodeDeploy application. So you can name it whatever you want. I love to use my app, and then it's easier to follow it. And here we're gonna choose the EC2. You can choose AWS Lambda and the less option, but we have the EC2 server. Next, we're gonna create a deployment group. Okay, deployment group is basically the configuration for the application, how it will run, and what it will be deployed. So let's name our deployment group. Next, remember the rule that we just created. So this is the rule for the deployment group. Here you can choose blue, green, or in place deployment type, how you want to deploy the code to the server that we have. And here we will choose Amazon EC2 instance because we have only instance. But if you have other option, you can also choose the checkbox, the other option. And we're gonna choose our EC2 by the name tag. Next, the agent configuration, we already installed it, but from what I understand, you wanna leave it like this. So it will work. You can do never, just leave it like this so it will be always updated. And here we're gonna choose how we want to deploy our servers. We have only one server, so it's gonna be one at a time. And if you guys have load balancer, you can also activate the load balancer. At the moment I'm using the simple configuration, so we don't have load balancer, but it's also possible to do with load balancer. And we created the deployment group of our code deploy. So let's review it. Under application we have the code deploy, and here we have the deployment group. And at the moment we don't have any history or revision. We have only one deployment group, and the next step is to create a manual deployment. You don't have to do it. I just want to show you, if you guys didn't copy the source to your server, you can run it manually, or if you want to have the recent code, you can also run manually deployment. Our purpose is to build a CI CD pipeline automatically. Okay, so what you need to do if you want to run a manual deployment, you need to connect your GitHub, so it will know from where to take the code, the source code, and in the repository. Next, you want to add the repository name and the commit ID. So what I'm gonna do in order to show you that it's work, at the moment I have version 1. I'm gonna change the app.js. I'm gonna use version 2. I'm just gonna change the version from 1 to 2. So to show you that it's working, let's take the recent commit SAJ. Okay, let's take it SAJ and the commit ID. Okay, this is where you're taking it. And here you can run a description. You don't have to, you can leave it empty. And next, you can choose how you want the deployment behavior to be. We want to override the content that we have. Okay, this is what you want to do in order to have the newest or the recent code, and all the other settings you don't have to change. So after we save, the AWS CodeDeploy will run its first deployment. And as you can see, all the hooks in our YAML alpha work perfectly. So now we are in step number 6. Now we're gonna set up GitHub action for CI CD pipeline plus a live demo of how it works. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go to a repository, Node.js server CI CD that I already test everything and it's work there. We're just gonna review the YAML file of the GitHub action. Okay, so let's open it and let's review it step by step, because this file will basically run the CI CD of GitHub action automatically. So we have the name of the file of the process and the event on push to branch main, and run this job that I have here. So the job name is run as a Ubuntu latest. It basically run it on its own server. And step number 1, we basically checking out our code. Step number 2, we setting up the AWS API key and API secret. And on step number 3, we are running the AWS code deploy. That will start the code deploy that we just created in AWS dashboard. That's it. It's very simple, very straightforward. Of course, you can add more comment in the future, but this is just a beginner tutorial, so this is how you can do it very fast. So next we're gonna set our security key that you just saw in the YAML file. So what we're gonna do, we need to set the AWS API key and the AWS secret key. So this is how you're setting those security secret. You're gonna go now to IAM. And we're gonna create a user GitHub deploy with access key. It means programmatic access. So what you want to do, you want to attach a policy that gives him a permission to run the code deploy command. So we're gonna search for code deploy and we're gonna attach the AWS code deploy full access. And let's create the user. So we created the user. Now we're gonna copy and paste the IAM key and the IAM secret to GitHub. You can add other secret if you want, like the region or other thing that you have. Now I'm gonna copy and paste the secret so it will know to where to take it when it's running. And let's copy the secret key. Okay, perfect. We set the IAM key and secret, so the GitHub action will be able to have the permission to run the AWS code deploy command. Okay, now we're gonna copy this from my old repository, from my testing repository, and we're gonna create a new file in our local repository of the AWS CodeDeploy Code Pipeline repository. And the way that you need to put it under .github/workflow/deploy YAML or whatever name you want to give it at the end. It can be AWS YAML, it can be something else. Okay, so let's create the file with the folder directory. Okay, great. And now I'm gonna paste what I was copying. Okay, perfect. So this is basically the command that we need. And this is the path that it needs to be in your local repository and also on GitHub once you're gonna deploy it. So now what we need to do, we basically just need to change the command, the AWS command that we have, with our own application name and our application deployment group. Okay, so this is the command, this is what it's running on step number 3. Let's update the command. So let's go to AWS Code Deploy, let's go to our application, let's copy the application name. And next we're gonna copy the application group name, the deployment group name, and all the other setting we can leave it as it is. GitHub will know which repository to go to and what gonna be the commit ID that it need to deploy. So we can leave it as it is. Okay, and now our next step is basically deploy this file to our GitHub repository, and I'm also gonna do some kind of a change in the app.js, so you're gonna see that it's actually deploy the new commit to our running server. At the moment we are on version number 2. And I don't have the action file there. Okay, this is how it looks right now, and once I will deploy it, you're gonna see that it's gonna change. Okay, so let's add all the changes we just did. We pushing the YAML file and the change that we did to the app file, so you can see that it's deploy automatically. And also remember the commit message, because you're gonna see that in the GitHub action. And let's push it to origin main. Basically, this is the branch that we attaching the event. And now if you're gonna go to GitHub action again, you will see that something is changed. Now we have our workflow, we have our commit, and it's basically running now automatically. And you can dive in and see that all the commands that we specify, and also GitHub have its own command, they are running, and everything working perfectly. And if you're gonna go to AWS CodeDeploy, you will see that it's initiate the deployment group. It's initiate a new deployment without us doing anything. Everything is automatically. And this is what it's about being a DevOps and a full stack developer, that everything you wanna do it as much as automated as it can be. And perfect, it's deployed, we have version 1 million, everything works, and basically we're done. We set up a GitHub action for CI CD pipeline, and you can go inside and review all the commands that GitHub run for you and read what are the error or what are the success messages. If you're gonna have error in the future, this is where you wanna look for them. And what I'm gonna do right now, I'm just gonna run one less commit, okay, just to show you how beautiful it's work, like another fast demo. Like now the first one was deployed GitHub action, and now we actually were participating, like we actually have a change in our file, in our commit, and we want to push it. So you're gonna see how it's work automatically without us doing anything except making the change and commit them and pushing to our branch. Okay, I did a little mistake. It's not dev, it's main, my bad. And that's it. That's it. Everything gonna work now. You're gonna press the action again, and this is the new commit that we just did, as you can see, and it's already running everything by itself automatically without us deploying manually. Now, if you guys have more steps like test that you need to do, build that you need to do, this is where you're adding them to the YAML file, and I will, in the future, I will add extend tutorial about it. And if you have any question, you can leave in the comment below. And voila, guys, version 2.9999999. We did it. We built CI CD pipeline with GitHub action and AWS CodeDeploy. Congratulations, guys. I'm proud of you. And this is where the deploy YAML file is located now in our repository. Now, if you are a startup company or a SaaS company who are looking for a cloud solution, or if you are looking to learn more about cloud full stack development and DevOps, feel free to leave a comment or send an email to saasscaleup.com. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and leave comment in the comment section below. Feel free to ask any question you want, and feel free to follow for more amazing tutorial about Laravel, AWS, and scale up your system. Have a nice day.